We're back for batch 2 of Age of Attraction, and it is not getting much better than it was in the first batch because we have a 29-year-old building a wall of pillows in between him and his 49-year-old girlfriend or whatever she is. And I guess at this point, he's just trying to stay away from her. And then to top it off, we have a 54-year-old lying to her kids about the age of her boyfriend. And it is probably the most disgusting situation that could happen in this show because out of all the crazy things that are happening, why are you wanting to tell lies now? And we'll get into why she's telling lies, but why now? I mean, you've already gone through this process. You know this is being recorded, so they're going to see this at some point. So why not just rip the Band-Aid off? So the couples have moved out of this Canadian retreat, and now they're pretending to be in love or maybe in a strong like phase. But these last 2 episodes and the family dinners and the conversations, the meet and greet and all of that, it was a dumpster fire. Episodes 6 and 7, I guess, were supposed to be about visibility, and some of these couples didn't give a lot of it. A couple of them didn't mind digging into it and being honest or whatever, but for the most part, everybody was a little uncomfortable and nobody really wanted to overshare too much because they already know that this is an uncomfortable situation that people probably don't want to be associated with, because not that this can't happen in life and not that it's not normal, but it's not really that normal. And that's just my opinion. So I apologize if it offends anybody. But with me saying that, why put yourself in this situation if you know you're going to be embarrassed or feel some type of way when you come out on the other side of it? Because when you signed up for the casting, they kind of gave you a base outline of what this show that you were signing up for was. It was probably under a code name or something like that, but you kind of knew what you were signing up for. So if you didn't want to be embarrassed, or if you want to save yourself the embarrassment, why even come? And then there's one thing for these people to fall in love in this vacation bubble. I mean, this experiment's only been going on for 2 weeks? I think the entire experiment is maybe 2 weeks. I forgot what day they started on, but this hasn't been a very long time. And so nobody's really in love. Yes, people are having sex. Yes, people are kind of dropping the L word, maybe even lightly, but these people don't love each other, and we all know that. And how can you be in love with somebody when you're not even willing to share their age in some cases, and then you're definitely not going to love somebody after their mother basically looks at you, and you're definitely not going to still be in love with somebody and you're definitely not still going to be in love with somebody that you just met recently when their mother is sitting there looking at you like you're an alien, or that you have your boyfriend treating you in this situation like they're basically at a networking event. So we're going to do what we did in the last batch. We're going to go couple by couple and recap everything that happened in these 2 episodes. But before we get into that, if you like these episodes and you like me covering Netflix reality or just reality in general, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please drop a comment about any show that you may want me to cover in the future or anything like that. I'm very open to suggestions. So now with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about Teresa and John, because they're probably the most interesting situation because they seem pretty stable at first, but now all the cracks are starting to show now when the family show up. And one thing about the whole family showing up, not everybody brought their mom and dad. Most people brought their siblings and their friends and stuff like that. So I don't think anything hard hitting was really coming. A little bit, but not a lot. This was a lot of fluff. These episodes were interesting at best. But Teresa meets John's mom and sister. He did bring his mom, and his mom was like ice immediately. She took one look at this woman and knew that this was not the person for her son, or definitely not the one that she imagined her son being with. And maybe she played coy, but she's not feeling the situation. And then the tables really turn when they meet her family, because they have some fluff conversations and stuff like that. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it all, and hey, what's his age? I don't want to discuss that. I want you guys to get to know him as I got to know him. Mom, you've only known this dude for like a week. So you don't even know this dude. So I think that is a valid question from the kids, how old he is. And they're not stupid. One, he's the same age as her middle child, not the oldest, the middle child. So, and she's even said herself that she has a kid older than him. So she's just embarrassed, and she doesn't want her kids to look at her in a type of way because she's basically dating one of their friends. And even for her kids to guess that he was around 35 years old says that they might be okay with her dating younger, but just not younger than your oldest. And I kind of felt bad for John in this moment because he kind of became complicit in this entire lie because all he could really do is just sit there because it's not like they've been dating for months. They've only been dating in this fluff situation for about a week or so. And now he's thrust into this situation where he basically has to have his partner back and lie just to appease her mind so that she's not embarrassed in front of her own kids. And the same situation boils over later when she didn't really have to reveal it, but I guess she decided that she didn't think it was a big deal. But when all the couples got together, Teresa revealed that, oh yeah, I didn't tell my kids. And yeah, that was I kind of caught some people off guard. And she really deserved to be called out for that situation because everybody else, for the most part, is being honest in this situation. And she openly chose to lie to her own children, for one. But for what reason? Just to save yourself a little bit of embarrassment? You should have never been here. Or you came and you probably started feeling some of this once you started liking this person. You should have never went through the commitment ceremony. You should have just went home. You got your 5 minutes of fame. Even if that's what you were looking for, I doubt it was. But let's talk about Derek and Fife. I thought this couple was going to be successful, and they may still be, because this is probably the most stable couple that is here, if you want to call them that. And even the meeting with her parents went better than I thought it would. Her dad seems to very much accept this situation, and he just wants his daughter to be happy, as most fathers do. And I'm not sure if I would be okay with my daughter dating somebody 20 years her senior, but to each his own. And even furthermore in this situation, when the kids come up and, he drops the ages 15 to 5, we kind of see the mom's face drop a little bit. The dad didn't really seem to care. He was just smiling like a joker from ear to ear. Like, this dude could not be rattled in this situation at all. And I was a little confused by that, but good for him. But I think the funniest thing to come out of the situation is, you look good for 43. I mean, what can we say? We all know the saying. The big thing in this situation comes later in the episodes, basically when Pfeiffer is starting to reevaluate everything. And she's pretty mature for 23, and she expresses how she moved from Pittsburgh to Seattle, and she's basically built a life there, and how she would be picking that life up and moving to Texas and stuff like that. And she's not against it. But, she is having the biggest sacrifice in this situation. And moving across country for a second time for a person that you just met. If this was a situation like maybe even Love is Blind, where they're together for 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it is, I would maybe understand it a little bit more if she was open to moving. But I do not understand being open to move within a couple of weeks to another state, even though you're going to have your own place, but just to be with a person. That is a lot in a very short amount of time. And I think if you guys do decide to be together, maybe you should stay in Seattle. Maybe I should try the long distance thing to see if this is even a thing when the cameras are away, because obviously this show has probably been recorded 6 months to a year prior. So I'm sure we'll find out where these couples are after the show ends, and maybe some of you know now. But hey, they'll be okay, I guess. If they decide to be together or not, we'll see. I think they'll probably leave the experiment together, and then we'll find out, or you guys may already know. Please fill me in if you know already. I'm sure we'll find out what has become of them after this, because I'm sure they probably stayed together at least out of the experiment, in the last episode. Now let's talk about Libby and Andrew. So Libby decided, instead of bringing her parents or anybody that was really, truly important in her life, not saying that her friends weren't important, but, somebody like at least one family member, or maybe they just didn't want to come, and that's just how they kind of explained it, the way she invited her friends. Because I promise you, if my daughter signed up for this, I would not be a part of this experiment. You could not get me to show up on camera for this at all. So maybe that's what it is. But like I said, she brought her friends, and one of them just happened to be a literal therapist, and they basically grill Andrew. And for good reason, because he is 38, she's 22, and, they basically kind of take on the role of a parent, kind of asking those important questions, but the vibe kind of flips from a friendly meet and greet to damn near a psychological evaluation, in my opinion. What did you guys think about that? Did you think that he was being evaluated more so than questioned, or I don't know. It was kind of weird. And then the funniest thing happened when Andrew's friends finally show up. And this says a lot about him. And this isn't his first time dating in this situation because his friends basically sell him out and, hey, she's going to be blonde and in her early 20s. So Andrew has a type. So he's definitely fine in this situation. And I'm not going to say too much about him. I'll let you guys kind of feed me in the comments and I will respond back to you about your thoughts about Andrew because I do have some thoughts about Andrew, but some things are just better left unsaid. And he has a type. But the dynamic is really starting to shift in this relationship because you could tell Libby doesn't really trust her own judgment. And I really think she's just here just to have a good time. She doesn't seem to really be taking this that serious. And then you have Andrew's friends who are just laughing and joking and basically making a mockery of the situation, just kind of picking at him about, you know, girls in their early 20s and stuff like that. It's kind of an icky situation. I don't really like that word, but I'm not sure really how to explain it because yet again, I'm going to ask this question. Why are these people even here? I could say a lot about this, but this show will not be renewed for a season 2. I'm almost willing to bet money on that because I don't know why they would bring this back. This is a failed experiment in every sense of the way. I don't even want them to do a reunion. I doubt they have one, but I would be interested to see if any of these people are going to do interviews if they haven't already. I think a couple of them have, but I would love to see their interviews about how they look on this show and what may be going on in their life now because I'm somewhat interested, but not interested. What do you guys think? Are you interested in these people after this experiment? Then you have Vanessa and Logan. And this is just another situation of two people who clearly don't really want to be well. Vanessa probably wants to be with Logan, but Logan does not want to be with Vanessa. The funniest thing that came out of this situation was that Vanessa's friend tried to guess Logan's age and she thought he was 38. And maybe he does carry himself that way at times. Maybe she just thought that because, nobody would just go super younger. And she's 32, so she probably definitely wouldn't think that her friend would date somebody younger than her, or maybe somebody that she should be dating. And this is kind of when we find out that Logan has been putting up pillow barriers between him and her, and all this childish stuff like this is just like, why are you here? I'm pretty sure you can leave this experiment at any time you want to because the 60-year-old and the 27-year-old did. So you're not a prisoner to this situation. And I don't know why these people try to save face and just make it to the end of these experiments when it only really makes you look bad in the end. Just leave. Get it over with. Pull the plug. And then when Logan finally does meet Vanessa's parents, he basically betrays his own morals and backpedals and says that he doesn't want kids and all that stuff like that just to appease them because obviously her trying to have a kid would probably put her in a dangerous situation potentially. So, and I'm sure they don't want their daughter to be in a dangerous situation by trying to have a child with somebody that's 20 years younger than her. But this is the situation that she kind of put herself in. So maybe the parents should kind of stay out of that part. But it's just crazy how you signed up for this. Maybe they didn't know their parents were going to be showing up, but I don't know why not because that seems to be the case in all these dating shows. We're going to meet the family at some point. But we can obviously see Logan is looking for the exit door. He's done. He's finished. He just wants this experiment to be over. And while he could have ended it himself, he's going to push through to the end like a dummy. Like, who really puts up a pillow wall with somebody that they're attracted to? And why force yourself to do things to somebody that you're not attracted to? And then when you met the parents, it was even more clear that you were out of this situation, mentally at least, because there just seems to be zero effort being put forward. And I think you're looking to be called out on being done. That way, maybe you can have a out that way and not have to just break it off yourself like a adult should. And then we finally have Leah and Chris. And Leah meets Chris's mom. And Chris's mom is clearly not buying into or playing up this fantasy in any type of way. Like, Chris's mom was quick to drop the fluff and get to the point and point out that Chris has never lived with anybody. She pointed out age, and she definitely made sure to let her know that Chris has massive family obligations. And I don't know if she just let out like this to go ahead and just cut through the fluff because she can clearly see her son is dealing with some type of anxiety. Because all he really says at the table is, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And all while this is going on, Leah is just sitting there clinging to him. At the end of the day, we could see ourselves that Chris is probably having some slow motion type panic attack. Maybe not literally, but he's definitely like in panic mode. And his mom sees right through this facade that maybe he's trying to put up because now that she's there, he is basically being vulnerable. And he's telling his mom about the clinginess, about this. And she's been nice about, saying that, well, this is this, relationships are hard, such and such. Well, it shouldn't be that hard. And it really shouldn't be that hard. But this is kind of what happens when you put yourself in this tense situation and you have to make these fake important decisions in basically 2 weeks or how long this experiment lasted. But of course, she was going to be the protective mother and have her sons back. I mean, who wouldn't have their kid back in this situation? And even after the fact and after the meetup and they're back talking to each other, Chris is saying everything to her but the fact that he's done. And I don't know why he won't just say it. It's okay to be the bad guy sometimes because sometimes being the bad guy, you're not really being the bad guy because you're clearly not feeling the situation, Chris. And I understand this is recorded or whatnot, so this is over. But even if this was happening in real time, I would tell you the same thing, like, just cut the cord, get it over with, because you clearly do not want to be with her. So why keep, one, leading her on, and two, dragging yourself through the mud like this? It's not worth it. Like, this meet and greet batch was absolutely cowardice. I don't know why they even showed this, because they could have just kept it going how it was going and just given us all these fluff conversations, because none of these people are going to be together anyways. So why even bring their friends and family into this embarrassing situation? It probably wasn't even fair to them. Like, leaving your parents out of the equation is a massive cop-out. You have mothers giving icy feelings to people that are basically the same age as them, so I kind of understand why. Like, it's just a whole shit show of a situation, and why even put people in this situation? Like, I would not put my family in this situation, or even myself for that matter. The only thing I know about this show and everybody that's involved with this show as far as the couples is that none of this is going to work long term. Even if they make it out of this experiment, which I doubt most of them will. And we'll see next week, because we did a real quick episode 8. I think that 1, maybe 2 walk out of the experiment good, but I'm sure once we do our research, I doubt that they'll even be together either. And I'm not wishing anything bad on anybody, but I don't know what you want me to say about this situation, because I just don't see this working for many people. So like I said, we're heading to the decisions next week, and this age of attraction mess will probably be over for good. So let me know what you think about episode 6 and 7 and what you think is going to happen at episode 8 and who you feel are going to be together or not. But thank you guys for watching. Please keep coming back for more. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you again. Bye.